Alright, welcome back to the channel, everyone. I know it's been a while. Thank you for being patient. I'm currently down here at Fort Moore in Georgia, previously known as Fort Benning. Today I'm at the National Infantry Museum and we're going to go on a 14-mile run. It's going to be 3.5 out, 3.5 back. I'll do that 2 times. And today the purpose of this video is going to tell you how you can train to run longer and how to run further. So there's a specific type of training that you should be doing, and I'll talk about that later in the video. I'll also give you guys a little bit of a life update, where I've been, what I've been doing, and how my training's been affected by being at IBULC, the Infantry Basic Officer Leader course down here at Fort Moore. So I just hit 1 mile and definitely did not go down the right trail. All right, we are now on the correct trail, which is the Riverwalk. So this Riverwalk, I don't know the exact distance, but you can start at the National Infantry Museum, which is right outside the northwest gate of Fort Moore. And you can go on that trail all the way down to downtown Columbus, which is pretty cool. So just hit mile number 3, 7:55 pace. There's really 3 vital aspects if you are wanting to train to run longer and further, whether that's half marathon for the first time, marathon for the first time, ultra marathon. Number 1 is heart rate training. Huge proponent in heart rate training. Number 2 is your mileage, to include volume and progression. And number 3 is going to be your pace. So what pace are you running at? Mile number 4 is an 8:01 pace. Just hit mile 5, 8:03 pace. So heart rate's getting a little bit higher than I want. So speaking of heart rate, the first vital aspect to running longer, you need to be training your aerobic base. Now, a lot of people say aerobic base, and I don't think it's really explained well for people who don't understand what that means. So your aerobic base is when you're using your oxidative system to produce ATP. ATP is your body's energy source. So you have 3 systems. You have your phosphagen creatine, which is for like explosive movements, like 1 rep max, like the high jump. Then you have your glycolytic system, which is a good in between. That's going to be for more of your like in the gym, 8 to 10 reps. And then you have your last system, which is your oxidative. That's for your endurance stuff. Your oxidative system uses oxygen. Aerobic means with oxygen. So you don't want to be running so fast, your heart rate to be so high that you can't produce that ATP with the oxidative system. Good rule of thumb for most of your runs should be MAF 180. So you take your age and you subtract 180 and you get the maximum aerobic heart rate that you should have. Another way to do this is to take 220 minus your age, get your maximum heart rate, and then you're gonna take 70 to 80% of that, and that is your aerobic zone. So for me, at 24 years old, it's right about 140 to 160, give or take a little. So that's the zone I'm trying to stay in for most of my runs. Only during my sprint workouts, which are few, and tempo workouts, which are few again, am I going to get my heart rate up. Especially if you're trying to run further distance, you have to train that over and over again. Do long, easy runs. You have to run slower. It is imperative that you're disciplined in your heart rate training and staying in that zone 2 aerobic zone. Because what happens is once you get out of that, you're running too fast, heart rate's too high. Now you're using a different method to get your energy. You're not using the oxidative system. You're using like the glycolytic. Easier to get that energy. You're gonna run out of it like that though. That's why you're having to train this oxidative, this aerobic base, so that you can just run, fill your body with some carbs, electrolytes throughout, some water. But as long as you're breathing oxygen, you're taking in nutrition, your oxidative system can flourish for a great deal of time. Mile 6 is an 8:21. We're gonna go ahead and get to mile 7 before we turn around. One thing I forgot to mention that I would highly suggest is invest in a chest heart rate monitor. The watches they're good. It's better than nothing. But when you get a lot of sweat, depending where you're at, it's moist or it's really cold outside, it will affect those sensors and you won't get an accurate heart rate reading. Just hit mile 7, 8:10 pace. Vital aspect number 2 is gonna be mileage, both volume and progression. Volume meaning, what are you currently running right now? Don't tell me what you were running months ago. Tell me within the last 2 weeks what your average miles are. So for example, if I'm running 20 miles on average a week, trying to increase that where I can run further, longer, then a good rule of thumb is to not increase any more than 10 to 20%. So that'd be 2 to 5 miles per week, whatever you feel like your body can handle. Some people may be good with 5 or more. Some people can only do 2. Within that progression, what you also need to think about is every 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a month, you need to take a deload week. You drop the mileage down about 10 to 20% from what you're at, and then start ramping it back up again. That'll make sure that you don't get any overuse injuries. Mile number 8 is an 8:05. Over halfway there. Mile number 9 is an 8:03. Staying pretty consistent. Mile 10, a little bit slower, 8:17 pace. Mile 11 is an 8:18. Mile number 12 is an 8:19. Starting to go a little bit toasty out here, and it's only about 9:30 in the morning. Summer's gonna be a hot one. The third vital aspect is that of pace. Now, your pace, like I said, is gonna be indicative of your heart rate. But if for some reason you can't afford a chest heart rate monitor, don't really trust your heart rate monitor, it's on your watch, a good rule of thumb is take whatever your last race, whether it be 5K, half marathon, marathon, preferably your furthest distance, that's a race pace, and you're gonna take off a minute to a minute and a half, and that'll be your easy pace. So if you ran your last marathon, like me, around a 7:30 pace, your slow pace is gonna be 8:30 to 9 minutes. And that's a good rule of thumb. Now, if you have a heart rate monitor and you can go faster based on heart rate like I am right now, then that's just as good. Mile 13 is an 8:08, one more to go. So 14 miles, 8:11 average pace, an hour and 54 minutes, burned 1,300 calories. So what we're about to do now is go shower up and then get some brunch, give you guys a life update. But just to reiterate the 3 things that I wanted to touch on in this video that are important to help you run further and longer. 3 vital aspects. Number 1 is gonna be your heart rate training. Number 2 is gonna be your mileage, both volume in the week and progression. How much are you adding each week, and when are your deload weeks in there? Then your last one is gonna be pace, which is dictated mainly by your heart rate. So hope this helps you. I'm super sweaty, so let's go shower up.
Alright, so I got showered up, about to head downtown Columbus. There's quite a bit of good restaurants down there, actually, surprisingly. So I'm waiting on some guys that are gonna go with me. But yeah, I'm gonna be at IBULLOC until July 12th is graduation, and then after that, we're looking at Ranger School if I'm afforded the opportunity. And if I'm not afforded the opportunity, I'm still planning on doing a 100-miler. I've looked at a couple ultra marathon 100-milers. One is the Mambo 100 in Memphis, Tennessee in October. And then there's also the half marathon, the Dallas half marathon I'm looking at. I still want to run a sub 1.5 hour marathon, half marathon. So that is on the schedule. I'll let you guys know some more details. Probably start doing a video every week if I can upload one while I'm here at IBULLOC. Please let me know any questions, comments you have below about IBULLOC, anything running related, and I'll try to answer them then or in my next video. Thank you guys for everything, and get after it.